Test 1, 2.
Dan,
What?
turn it, you do. So turn it so they can see here. In case they know what I mean?
Oh.
Get down here. Oh, it's on. Phone rings, I'll try and grab it next.
Can you close those?
All the way, or
Yeah, like that. That's good.
is that good? The
Yeah,
bottom's
the
still
bottom one, do that. Perfect. Thank you.
okay. All right, I think I'm good.
We are now.
You're awesome. You are great.
Oh, well, thank you. But my camera didn't the SD card that records, it holds the files in the camera, is corrupt. So the ones I recorded previously, I couldn't get them. The files were lost. So.
And then in the message that you sent with the link, the Zoom, you said you will be posting the recordings of the lectures as
Correct.
well? Okay.
As soon as I figure out how to do it.
Okay.
That's where the school's having a problem with Zoom. And all the teachers are all trying to figure it out.
That, and as long as the file doesn't get corrupted.
Yeah. Okay. So where this leads now is into another concept called boundaries, psychological boundaries. You ever hear about that? You have boundaries.
Yes. What's okay for you and what's not okay?
Mm-hmm. What are boundaries? It's between where you draw a line between you and another person psychologically. Get on here. Every time somebody wants to come in, I get this thing in the way. Okay. So what are boundaries between countries? Let's go that in that context. So like we have a boundary between Mexico and the United States. So what happens when boundaries are not respected in political, geographical terms?
Causes issues.
Yeah, a lot of issues. And a lot of times people go to war because of it. Russia invades Ukraine and then they go to war, cross the line. So the same thing happens when people's boundaries personally are not respected. Usually they get into conflict big time and creates a lot of problems. So having boundaries is critical in being intimate with somebody, being close. And if you don't have the confidence of doing that, you're going to be afraid to be in a committed.
Big sexual therapist.
Excuse me, Nate, turn your mic off, okay? Okay. Oh, that's cool. I could see who that was. So how do you set boundaries between you and another person? Well, the key comes back to what we were just talking about. Listening to how you feel, whatever you're feeling in the moment. And I'm sure that a lot of you have people hitting on you for something. Everybody wants something and they come at you with it. And then you got to decide whether you're into it or not. That's a boundary. And it, you know, whatever the relationship is, you're going to have to be able to set it. Because if you're not able to say, no, that doesn't work for me, I'm not comfortable with that, then you're going to lose yourself. Get that? That's, you know, people say, I don't want to get involved in a serious relationship because I don't want to lose myself. Well, why are they losing themselves? Because they're not able to set boundaries. Okay. So what the two emotions that I want you to focus on is comfortable and uncomfortable. Make it real simple. So when somebody says, do you want to go to bed with me? Then you have to ask yourself, how do I feel? Well, I'm not comfortable with that. Then you say no. But if you don't listen to that, then that's how you lose yourself, and you end up doing and being a part of things that you're not comfortable with. And then that hurts you, and you're not going to feel very self-love at all. You feel like you throw yourself under the bus.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the last lecture we had talked about conditioning. Does that should play some kind of role in how you initially feel emotionally about something? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, but I don't understand. I don't remember talking about conditioning. I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, we had talked about behavioral and
Cognitive.
cognitive, yes. And we had
Yeah.
talked how you can, like, depending on, you know, your location, how you like culture, you can have different views on things.
Right.
Would you say that say you're sorry, I kind of lost what I was thinking
It's okay.
about.
Your attitude and beliefs can influence how you feel about something.
Yes.
Exactly. Definitely. You know, if your religion or your culture says no premarital sex, and then you're getting pressured to have sex before you're married, so you're in conflict with your belief and the situation, and you're not comfortable probably wanting to do that, and you need to listen to that. The other person might try to work on that, but that's where you got to draw the line. You know, whatever it is, whether it's premarital sex or could be anything. Now you can change your beliefs so you are comfortable with it, you know, and feel okay, but you got to respect it up front. That's the point, I would say. Yeah.
I just had a quick question too.
Yeah.
I was looking on Canvas and I couldn't see any assigned homework or anything like that.
Yeah. You're kind of late to the show. Okay. Go on. Yeah. We talked about that first day, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just wondering if there's going to be any uploads for if you had like regular homework assigned every week, or if it's just watching the lectures and the papers that we're going to be writing.
Okay. The only thing I would add to that would be reading the textbook.
Okay.
Textbooks. So, you know, you could read along as we go,
Okay.
or you could wait to read before a midterm. How you read the textbook is up to you. So I'm not going to give you read chapter 6 by this time, you know.
Okay.
But other than that, you got it.
All right. So like pretty much no homework. It's freelance, like watching your lectures, the textbook, all of that.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
I'll give you more homework if you want.
Oh, I'm gonna say no to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. I said that. And boundaries become critical with relationships. And I forgot who said it, but you need to set boundaries with whoever you're involved with, a friend, a parent, a lover. It's not just, one specific area.
I have a question, Professor. So,
Yeah.
what if like it's hard to set a boundary if it's like your parent?
Oh, for sure. That's a big one. Yeah. Okay. What's the question then?
So like, can you go to the last slide for a second? It was like I was reading the last one. So like, what if like you're telling your parent how you feel and they don't allow you to they don't validate your emotions? Like, what can you do at that point?
Move out.
Like, move. Okay, that is a good one.
Yeah, that's a common struggle. I mean, I work with many couples or parents and their kids or adult kids and my own kids.
And you validate them ourselves. I've been in that same situation. I wrote a letter to my father when I was 12 and he ripped it up and said I didn't write it. But I validated it. It was my truth. And I'm not going to allow you to take that away from me. Can we not? Are we not allowed to validate it ourselves?
I hope you do, yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that, they're going to respect it.
I don't care if they respect it. I know my
Okay.
truth. Right.
Then stay true to it. That's good.
Right. Perfectly.
I like that.
Help you out, classmate. Maybe just validate it yourself, girl.
Okay, so to expect parents, to validate how you feel and to respect your boundaries is not always realistic. Parents have been in a position of control over you for 18 years, whatever years it's been, and it's not an equal relationship, and they're going to try to do that. It's the challenge for you is to set your limits and, take care of yourself around that. I have my youngest daughter lives near her mother in Los Angeles, and she has a little kid, and her mother wants to come over all the time to see the kid. Well, she's working, and both her husband and her are working in the house because remotely, and the mother wants to come over all the time. Plus, the mother is not real, cautious about the virus. She doesn't wear a mask. She goes out anyway. So my daughter's not really comfortable with having her around the kid. And her mother guilt trips her and gives her shit. And, and what I say, you guys set that and don't expect her to be happy about it. Because if someone loves you, a lover, husband, whoever, parent, friend, why would they go against how you feel? Why would they do that? Would you want what? No, they're looking out for their own selfish interests. They're not concerned about you. As bad as I want it, whatever it is, if my partner's not comfortable with it, I don't want it. See, but some people are into getting what they want and they don't, narcissistic and trying to get it, and they won't listen to how you feel. They'll negate it. They'll debate it.
What if they don't see the harm in what they're doing?
What can you do? Yeah, right. She, her mother doesn't see it, says, I'm okay, I'm good. It's fine, but you still can't come over. You can't, they're in denial a lot of times and you can't get them to see it.
I feel that.
I have a question.
Before I forget, addicts, dependents don't respect boundaries. It's a given. Dependents, in whatever form of dependency it is, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever, they are into getting what they want, and they're not into how you feel. So don't even expect it from them. So you got to create distance to protect yourself. Okay, what was the question? Somebody had a question?
Yes. You made a statement that if your partner doesn't want something, then you don't want it.
Yep.
What is the boundary for yourself in understanding what you want, what your partner wants, and then still being true to both?
It's called negotiation. It's called conflict resolution. Yeah.
Okay.
That's coming. That's a whole nother area
Right.
we'll get into. But before you can get to that, you got to stay true to yourself. You got to put out what you're comfortable with. And if it's a conflict between the two people, then you got to work that out. First base is just stepping up to the table and saying, here's what I'm comfortable with. See what I mean? But how to do that's another story. But right now it's just about you representing yourself and drawing that line. And if it's a friend who doesn't respect your boundaries and keeps doing stuff, then you got to look at whether you can be friends with someone, because you can't get somebody to respect your boundaries. You don't have that kind of power. You only have the power to remove yourself and not hang out. Get out of that situation if you can. Okay, good stuff. I like it.
Professor, I don't think, I can't see you. Your box is just a black square.
Really?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
Okay, I sent you a message, but I don't know. I can hear you, but I can't
Yeah,
see you.
I know. My camera. What happened to my camera? God. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Touch it. What is stop? Looks like it should be recording, but it's not. Okay, what do I do now? Let me give up this GoPro camera. Still can't see me, huh? I'm frozen.
Some teachers lecture without us being able to see them.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And see if I can get my
We can see you now.
back and better.
yeah, I shifted to my webcam in the computer, so because the other camera's obviously not working. Thank you for that. Okay, go back to where we were. Resume share.
Professor,
Yep.
I actually had something to, comment and kind of like ask about something you said.
Okay.
So you said that if someone loves you, why would they go against how you feel? And that's very true, but I feel like in a way that can like turn into manipulation, because sometimes people like can tell you like don't do this, as in like hang out with friends or dress a certain way, and then they like say that same thing like, oh, if you love me, why would you do that? But it's like what they're asking for is very like toxic and unrealistic.
Mm-hmm. So no one can manipulate you unless you let them. First of all, no one can control you unless you let them.
Mhm.
No one can dominate you unless you let them. So that part, they can't do it. So, you know, they can guilt trip you if they want, but if you're still not okay with it, it doesn't change, right?
Can I say something?
No, you can't say anything.
I'm
Go ahead, sure.
going to anyway.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, I was going to say, well, that's where it proves who loves themselves. So if somebody is capable of manipulating and not caring about the reality of everything, and they're not aware of themselves, obviously they don't love themselves.
Right.
But if you're the person setting the boundaries, then you do love yourself, and you would never find yourself in a relationship like that anyway.
Correct.
So yeah, that's kind of, I think that's the answer to that.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why can't I see myself? You see me?
We see you, but your screen
We
is
see you.
your
My screen.
is warped.
Yeah, the PowerPoint is frozen.
There it
What?
goes.
Okay. That's what I was not doing. So the thing is, this point right here is that when you say I'm not comfortable with something, that is not debatable. See, people who want to manipulate, control, dominate, and use you, when you tell them you're not comfortable with something, they'll say, well, that's ridiculous. And they will not respect your feelings. They'll argue. Manipulators want to argue how you feel. How many times I went through that with my daughters, teenage daughters, man. They just want what they want. And if I say no and set a boundary, they flip out. They get mad. They start giving me shit. They say, well, that's not fair. Well, that doesn't make any sense, Dad. And the one story I'll never forget is my oldest wanted to go to Mexico for graduation thing, where all friends go to Mexico or Cancun or something. And I said, no, not comfortable with that, Danielle. You know, I'm just not comfortable with you being in a foreign country. You're a minor. Nah, don't work for me. And she got all pissed off and she'd say, Dad, that's ridiculous. And look at here, they have American hospitals. She literally looked online and said, see, American hospitals. I don't care. I don't want you in anybody's hospital. What the hell, you know? And, you know, and so she kept trying to work, argue with me, debate it, I said, I hear what you're saying, but I understand that, but I'm not comfortable with it. And that's not going to happen. I said, I'm comfortable if you want to go to Honolulu because it's in the United States and it's okay. But, well, my friends are going, yeah. I said, hey, you want to go somewhere? That's what works for me. So it was always that, the debate about what my feelings basically. And I understand we're in a power struggle and I'm in control and she resents that. So, but people who want to manipulate and dominate you will not respect or argue with your feelings. If you're afraid of something, they'll say, well, that's ridiculous. There's no reason to be afraid. Well, maybe to you, but I'm afraid still. It doesn't matter, So watch out for that. And parents will debate your feelings as well. I mean, they'll do it all the time. So it comes back to how you feel is the way you feel. And you don't have to defend it. You don't have to explain it 20 times. It just is. And if they can't get that, then you're going to have some problems with that person. But it starts with you having the confidence in that you will listen to how you feel. So that is where your power comes from in a healthy way. Your power is your emotions. No one can take that away from you. You don't have to argue about anything. If you're not comfortable with it, that's the power. That's the fact. And I would use this concept in retail. When I learned this, I used it in retail all the time. I still do. If I go into take something back to a store, all I got to do is tell them I'm not comfortable with what I bought. And, this doesn't work for me. That's not. And they'll go, okay, well, what can we do to make it better for you? Make me comfortable. Now, Nordstrom's definitely does that. Target, forget it. They don't care how you feel. You have a receipt? No. Do you have the box? No. Just doesn't work for me. Well, if you don't have a receipt, you don't have a box, then we can't take it back. So you're not going to make me comfortable. Fuck you, you know. But, you know, prices are different. If I go into a restaurant, I don't know how many of you've done this, but you go in and they sit you at a table and it's back in the room, you know, back by the dishes. It's, you know, like a crappy table. You know, what I used to do is just take it and be mad and complain to myself or who I'm with. And now I don't do that anymore because I learned to love myself. Now I say, you know, I'm not comfortable with that table back there. How about that one over there by the window? Is that, can I get that one? And they go, okay, sure, Mr. Baber, yeah, and they take care of me. Now, if they don't have a table, okay, I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm not going to yell and scream at them. But the key thing is I don't have to prove that I'm uncomfortable. If they want my business, they're going to make me happy. And some places are like over the top with that, you know, almost the other extreme, you know. How is our service today? You know, they're always wanting a survey, a report. And it's like, But you see what I'm saying? You don't have to argue in retail. Make me comfortable. I'm paying you money to make me comfortable, to make me happy. And if you don't care about whether I'm happy or not, then I'm not going to do business with you. Simple as that. Now, that's about business. The same things would apply to a lover. A lover wants you to be happy because they love you and they care about you, ideally. But it starts with you. So your power is in your emotions. Another thing is that some people discount how you feel based on the fact that you don't know why you feel something. So if I say I'm uncomfortable going to this party, and well, what are you uncomfortable about? Well, I don't know. I'm just not comfortable at this point. You know, well, that's not legit. You don't know, then you got to go. You know, I don't have to know why I feel something. It doesn't mean it's any less powerful or a fact. And many times it comes back to me. You know, it's like, oh, that's why I'm uncomfortable. You know, but at the moment I didn't know. So you don't have to have reasons to, you know, to legitimize how you feel. That's the idea. And manipulators want you to have reasons why, so they can debate them and then get you to do what they want. And it becomes a debate, like with my daughter.
I have a question, Professor.
Okay.
So,
Mindy.
Yes. So with like my boyfriend and like other relationships, is it like manipulation if I ask why so that I can understand and so we can get past the problem?
No, it's okay to know why. I mean, I was a therapist. I ask people why all the time. But if they didn't know, then that's okay. Get back to me when you figure it out.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, because, yeah, I'd like to know why you're mad at me. I don't know. I'm just mad at you right now. Okay. Well, when you figure it out, let me know because I want to know. And then maybe we can work it out or make it better. But sometimes when people feel things emotionally, it kind of floods their brain so they can't understand things and connect the dots. It's like when you try to remember somebody's name and you go, God, what is their name? And you go over the names in your head and you say, screw it. And then you go, oh yeah, that's her name. And then it comes back to you. That's the same way here. Because emotions can tend to flood the thinking process, but they're nonetheless still valid and real. Oh, yeah, this is something with anxiety. You know, many times when I would give presentations or still do to, you know, large groups, I was always be nervous. And people would say, well, you know, what are you nervous about? You've done it a million times. You could do it in your sleep. And I said, yeah, that's true, but I'm still nervous. Okay. It's like, I can't be nervous. If I go on television, and that's usually they get you there 2 hours before you go on. And you sit in a room, the green room, and you just sit there waiting to go on. And my nerves, my anxiety levels is just off the chart waiting to go on. And, you know, here's some coffee. I don't need more coffee. I'm wired enough, you know, or here's a sweet roll. No more sugar. and finally I get on and I'm so uptight. It's like, hi, you know, it's like I'm not loose. But if I was in front of an audience, then I could say, God, look at all these people. I'm nervous. Wow, how you guys doing? And, you know, and make a joke out of it. And then I'm not nervous anymore. So when you give validity to your emotions, you chill, you relax. When you deny and fight the feeling, then your body gets all stressed out and uptight and you don't perform well. It's called performance anxiety.
That's literally what they said in therapy. Like, the one thing about anxiety, the best thing you can do in moments where you're high strung and you're feeling highly anxious is to do nothing. You have to relax. And it's like the hardest thing to do.
Right. But
So,
see, to relax, you tell someone just relax, you got to give them a way to relax.
right,
It's like telling a guy, don't worry about getting an erection, just relax. Don't worry about it. Okay, doc, I won't do it. That's not going to work. The whole, I'll chill. I'm not worried about it. Ridiculous. It's not going to happen. So you got to say, relax, true, but how do you do that? And one way to relax is to give validity to the emotion because you're not pretending. So if I'm in front of an audience and I'm nervous, I'll say I'm nervous and then I relax because I validate the emotion and I can do that. But if I keep saying, don't be nervous, you can do it, like, boop, not good. Okay, we did that one already. Oh yeah, when I would, the reason I didn't ask for a different table is because I didn't want to cause embarrassment. I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to make the maitre d' uncomfortable. I was worried about how he or she felt as opposed to me. So I would not care about me because I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to worry and pay people money to do that. That was really messed up thinking. That's where I changed cognitively. It's about my comfort, not their comfort. They're here to take care of me, not me to take care of the maitre d', or the chef. Let's say, how's that meal? And you go, oh, that's fine. And then the guy walks away and you go, God, this is shit. Why did you not say that? Well, I didn't want to make them feel bad. What are you, responsible for the chef's feelings and give them money too? This is ridiculous. But a lot of people have that. We'll get to that later. This is a nice little video. I'll change the pace a little bit here. Hope you like it. I don't hear nothing. Do you hear anything?
No.
No.
When you share screen, make sure that you click the thing that says share computer audio as well.
Right. Thanks for the help. Where's that little button down here?
Treat it as like a new screen share.
Right. Where's that button? New screen share, baby. Come on. Yeah. There. Okay. What's the joke? That's so funny. Where did it work yesterday? Yeah, that's a problem. No.
society, which means they need you to buy stuff.
Okay, all right.
And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key.
Did you stop the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I bet that's what it is. This little thing right here. See, enable content. I didn't hit that earlier. So I'll learn this someday.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you.
I'll get full screen.
Bottom right corner.
There? No.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, "I'm so dumb," and I'd say, "You're so brilliant." She'd say, "I'm so weak," and I'd say, "You're so resilient." And when she said, "I feel ugly," and I said, "You look beautiful," she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug. You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys.
Yeah, we already saw you.
And we're seeing it so much that we start believing.
What happened? It go backwards.
Ugly, and I said, you look beautiful. She asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug. And she said, treat yourself like someone you loved. Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough. And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life. You can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for.
Would you like that?
That was really good.
It was awesome.
Very powerful.
And it was still very empowering.
So if you want to get that, go to YouTube. It's a YouTube video.
To subscribe to Goalcast.
You might have to say what the guy's name is, how to find who you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah, that's the title there. Okay, boundaries. We've talked about this already. Move on. Come on. So a more intimate level, boundaries enables a person to be intimate, because without boundary setting, without the confidence that you can do that, you won't let go, because you're afraid that if you let go to the relationship, being open, vulnerable, that you'll be controlled and consumed because you don't know how to stop, in a sense. So a lot of people who have boundary problems will develop relationships with people who they can't get involved with. They're safe. someone who is not available to them, either physically or emotionally, because they're afraid if they get close, then they'll drown, in a sense. They'll lose themselves. So they set it up artificially so they are protected, or they don't get involved at all and just stay very distant. Sometimes, like, I could have a couple who live in distance. One person lives in Chicago and the other person lives in San Francisco. And, so they're very safe physically that way. And then they can get together and have a very intimate, wonderful time, but then they start to feel like they're losing themselves. So then they go back to their respective houses, 2,000 miles away. See how they set that up? So a lot of times people have affairs with people who are committed to someone else. They're still married, and they keep thinking they're going to leave that person and be with them. And, and they don't. And they complain about it and they say, why do I stay with this person? But it creates safety because then they can't get committed to them. So that's the way people set that up sometimes. Not advocating that. I don't know if you ever skied before or snowboarded or something, but maybe you can get this. So when I go down a mountain skiing, I'm like going fast. And when I start to feel uncomfortable, like I'm going to crash or something, then I have to stop. I know how to stop very quickly. And then when you can do that, then you can let go again. I don't know if you ever had that experience. But having that confidence that I can, in a sense, put on the brakes or set a boundary with me in the mountain, allows that ability to let go of control and just go with the flow, with the gravity, the pull. And that's the rush. Because I have the confidence that, like I say, I can stop on a dime and get that control back. So it's the letting go and getting it back. Now, in an intimate context or relationship context, out of skiing, what's the letting go? What do people say, You ever hear them say, I'm falling in love? It's like going off the mountain skiing. I'm falling in love, and it's so wonderful. And then they get hurt and messed up, just like you would if you're skiing like that. So falling in love is critical. I have no problem with that, but better have confidence you can put on the brakes if you need to, if the person starts to not treat you right. Come on. Oh. That's what I mean. So that's called parallel stop. See this, she's stopping on that hill because she's going too fast. Got to stop. So you can do that, ski like that when you can stop like that. Just like you can know that if you can set boundaries and you have confidence behind it, you can be involved with somebody and not be afraid that you're going to drown in it or die. On boundaries. Tired of it. And the same thing's true with sex. If you can't set boundaries, then you're going to be afraid to be sexual because you can't be any more intimate. And if you're not confident that you won't do stuff you don't want to do, you'll feel resentful if you're in it because you can't be who you are. That happens a lot. A lot of times women can be really good at doing boundary setting outside of the bedroom, but when they get into the sexual area, they give it all up. And then they end up being trapped in a prison of their own making and resent sex because of it. Parents, we talked about that already. Okay, now changing.
So your daughter that fought you down to go to Mexico is now a lawyer?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, she used that arguing skill to, to argue against the government.
Right.
Mhm. Okay. Change the pace. Here we go. We got time. Yeah. 2 requirements for successful relationships. Being a therapist out there for a long time, I was, the media would tend to come to me a lot, whether newspaper or radio or whatever, and they would always have the question, what are the 5 key things to make successful relationships last, or something like that? And I always had the list in my head, what are the 5 things, and that would be it, and thank you. But after a while, I started realizing later in my career that those 5 things were definitely important, but there was 2 things that were more important than everything else I ever said that were critical for relationships to be successful. And this came to me late in my career. I mean, learned this early on. So I want to share these 2 things with you, because to me, where you are, most of you in your lives right now, is like where this is critical, where you can be making it happen now, more or less. Get success and meet the requirements. You're working on them before you get married, before you get into some serious relationship. Because if you don't do these 2 things before, it's going to screw it up, the relationship. And it's also harder to do it after the fact, if you know what I mean. So if someone gets married at 20, they probably haven't been able to achieve fulfilling these requirements. And then they're married, and then it's too late in the sense, or it's harder. So now's the time. That's why I like to do it, developmentally for most of your ages. I don't know your ages, but I'm assuming that. So the first requirement that's critical in having a great relationship is that you're able to take care of yourself financially in the adult world. Now, most of you are working towards being able to do that, I assume, because you're into college and to improve your earning capacity by getting a degree instead of being stuck with a minimum wage job. You're trying to enhance your ability to make more money and have a nicer lifestyle, which is fine. But the key is that you don't need another adult for your survival economically. You don't need the government either. That you can do it on your own, that you have the skill set, the experience, that you could get a job and make money. Now, I'm not saying super rich, upper middle class lifestyle. I'm just saying you can pay the rent, you can get food, you can pay the utilities, you can survive. And that you could go to any major city in the United States and develop that economic opportunity. So that's one.
Quick question, real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Would you say, along with being financial, do you have to exercise that first, like leave your parents' house and live on your own before you get married?
If you don't have that confidence financially that you could be able to do that away from your parents.
Okay, thanks.
It's about the experience of being on your own financially, that you can support yourself.
Okay.
Now, you might move home to live with your parents to save money so you can buy a house or something. I mean, some people do that strategically, but that they're shooting for something bigger to that goal. But to me, it's like, if you move to another city, you can survive in that city by working and having a skill and experience.
I also had a comment. I also find that being financially stable in terms of like being able to survive also changes the way you think. I think behaviorally speaking and like psychologically speaking, you begin to set more boundaries, I think, naturally. Like you don't even have to educate yourself on it. It's just a feeling that comes naturally because you think to yourself, well, I have the basic survival skills. So what does life have to offer me besides that? So then you start to, put yourself in situations where you see better relationships, you set boundaries, you know your worth, basically.
Exactly. That's the idea. The next one is that you can live alone emotionally, that you're not afraid to live alone as an adult in the adult world. You don't need to be with another person in a living situation. I mean, you can have a roommate, but I'm talking about like having a lover, that you can live alone in your own apartment. You don't have to like it, but you can do it. That's the thing. I'm not advocating it as a lifestyle. I'm just saying that you can do that. Been there, done that. So the fear of being alone doesn't overwhelm your decision making. Now, some people get the financial part done and have that confidence, but they don't have the emotional. Where other people might have the emotional, but they're struggling financially. The idea is to be able to do both and have confidence in both. Live alone and support yourself financially.
Balance.
And what's interesting is there's a gender thing here. I'll just throw out that typically males have the financial part done, but not the emotional. And in some women, it's the reverse. But I've saw a lot of men, I think a lot of men out there that, oh, they got good jobs and they know how to, and they have a lot of stuff and make money. But the idea of being alone, not good.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So I have a friend who is a female who's kind of in the opposite. She's financially able to take care of herself, but she's just emotionally kind of a wreck. She always just has to have that validity from someone else, and she just feels like she always has to try to be with somebody else. How do you go about like stabilizing your emotions like that? Is that just about loving yourself?
Well, it's part of it. That's a big part of it. But it's also getting confidence that you can do it. And that comes from experience. You can't make that happen. You have to experience it. That's how you get confidence. It might be uncomfortable at first, but you can pretty soon have confidence around it. Okay. So what happens when a person doesn't have, like the one you just described, either one of these?
It creates a dependency.
Exactly. So one of the things that happens a lot that I want to look at is that love and dependency get mixed up. A lot of times people say they love somebody, but they're really not in love with them or love them. They're dependent. The two get mixed up. And a lot of people think that dependency is a part of love. It's like okay to be dependent on love or somebody. Only in one context, parent-child. So when these two things are not formed, people develop a dependent relationship, either financially or emotionally. And one thing is clear, that dependency and love, intimacy, don't mix between adults. When you have dependency involved, there's problems. It eats at any of the intimacy. Anybody know why?
Maybe because it becomes easy to start to resent. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. It becomes easy to resent the person because it means that you're there because you have to be and not because you want to be.
That's true. No choice. The choice is taken away. And when the choice is taken away from an adult, then they develop lots of resentment. And it's that resentment that contaminates the love. It becomes toxic in that way.
I feel like it's also the person that's being dependent on possibly can feel like they can't breathe in that relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like they feel like they have a drag on them. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So then how would you be able to kind of, I guess, like spot if it's dependency?
Okay. I'm going to give you a list of characteristics to spot.
Nice.
In a minute. Okay. Because you want to be able to see it beforehand and not be blinded, which happens a lot.
Right. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. Don't worry.
Because my friend she's in a relationship, but I can't really tell the difference if it's love or dependency based on like their actions.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And like
you might have to live
sometimes
with
to
them to
me it
see
seems
that.
like it's more dependency than it is love, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell when you're not involved, from the outside. You'd have to see it.
Yeah, that is one thing that I've noticed. Like people on the outside will judge relationships when they're not in the actual relationship.
Right. And how many people put on a good front or a good facade outside social, as opposed to what happens behind closed doors.
Exactly.
Right. And I mean, that's the advantage for me of being a therapist. I got behind closed doors all the time because I knew that their image was one thing, but what happened in the bedroom was a whole nother thing, or in the house.
What's the term rose-colored glass? Isn't that where it comes
That's
from?
right. Yeah, that would refer. They have, they don't see it for what it is.
Can it be both?
Both what?
Love and dependency?
No, you don't ever. As an adult, you don't ever want to be dependent unless you have no choice, which is what I was going to say next. Where, let's say you have a person who's got a full-time job, works, makes a lot of money, and then gets disabled for whatever reason, and now can't work in the sense. So now they're dependent financially, but it's temporary, or it's not. They have the capacity still. So let's say you have a woman who's a doctor and she gets pregnant and now she's staying home with her kid and her husband's a primary support of money. But if her husband cheats on her and leaves her, she still has the ability to make money. So it's always having that confidence that if push comes to shove, you always can fall back on the confidence that you can make money and take care of yourself. Does that make sense? The problem is like if a woman that's been married for 30 years, never work outside the house, never had a job, and now her husband dumped her, and now she, has never worked. She doesn't know how to make money. So she's has been dependent that way. So then she has to learn how to get a career or job and get back and have that confidence. Well, she's got good spousal support. Okay, so what effect does this dependency have on a relationship?
You can get trapped if you're dependent on somebody and you realize that, maybe you don't want to be with this person, but you're dependent on them financially, then you feel more inclined to stay with that person because the thought of, maybe having to move back in with your parents or make yourself make a lifestyle change that you're not willing to do.
Right.
You just become more, you want to stay in that relationship, even though you're denying your true feelings.
Exactly. Because of fear.
I feel like one of the biggest effects of dependency is probably a lack of sex. If your relationship is nothing but depending on one another, then you're probably not having sex.
Kind of. Why don't they have sex? What gets in the way?
Because it's not love. Like you're not really into one another. You're only here for what you can do for each other rather than how you make each other feel and wanting to be close. These are not the thoughts that are going through your head.
Right.
You're more concerned as to what the next bill is or the next move needs to be made rather than me trying to cater to your needs and meet them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the giving goes away.
Exactly.
Or
well, the reason. Go ahead.
If I could actually throw something that's actually pretty opposing to that, or it could be the opposite. Their dependency could be based on sex, where either a person doesn't want to relearn how to get comfortable with someone else, and the sex is really, quote unquote, the only thing that's keeping them.
Absolutely, but we're talking about two different relationships at that point. But I totally agree. It could go either way.
Yeah. So what gets in the way is any adult that's dependent on something resents it because their choice is taken away. And it's that resentment that poisons the relationship. It's that what brings it down. Resentment and sex don't go together, as you'll learn. I'm going to say it 100 times. So if you resent the person, it's kind of like hard to be turned on to them but you might do it, as you said, I don't know who said it, but sometimes they use sex as a way to get connected, to feel secure for just for a period of time. And then they'd stop having it. So it can be used that way. But it's the resentment that comes in. And in the beginning, usually with this dependency thing with couples, is it's a high. I mean, they're really into each other. I mean, they feel that because they're dependent. It's like, and then they start to resent it, and the relationship gets kind of weird and ugly and not so good. Just like any drug, it's great in the beginning, but then you start to feel, controlled by it and sick, and it's not good. You keep hoping and going back thinking you're going to feel what you did in the beginning, but you never do. I think that's called chasing the high. Resentment poisons the love, yes. And then you have what's called the hate-need or love-hate relationship. You ever hear that? They have a love-hate relationship. I don't know.
Definitely the love-hate, but not the hate-need.
Really, what to me it is hate-need. I've never seen love-hate. That's ridiculous. How can you hate somebody and love them in the same thing? But hate-need, I understand. I hate you because I need you.
Right.
My survival is dependent on you being there for me. So I hate the fact that I'm dependent on you. But that's not love. These people don't know what love is. And, they usually treat each other with disrespect, and it's not pleasant. And then the last thing is that very little risk is taken when you have dependency, because people who are dependent don't want to risk losing their security, either financially or emotionally. So they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to cause conflict. They don't want to piss the other person off. So they're always trying to maintain this stability. Boring as hell. No intimacy. It's not real. It's all manipulated and fake. So they can't really be in love with somebody, because to be in love with somebody requires psychological risk. And if you can't take that risk, then all you're going to have is a roommate. But you have security, financially or emotionally. Okay. I could show you that, but we got 2 minutes left. Maybe I'll save this for Monday or Tuesday. You want to see this, or you want to let's stop? Yeah.
I have another class in a minute.
Yeah, let's stop. No worries. Okay. All right. Well, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Tuesday, and hopefully I'll be able to post this or give you access to what you just saw in previous videos. I don't know if, I think that one I lost the first session that we had.
Yeah.
But this one and the others. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a great one.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for the lecture.